Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back for another Real Housewives of Atlanta review. You guys, this episode irritated me because I feel like Drew and LaToya, but we'll get to that point, are playing in our faces. So we start off the episode getting a Christmas montage of all the ladies. We see all the things that they're doing. I'm not going to break all that down, but one of the things that I noticed is Marlo is once again filming with her nephews to do another photo shoot. There are three things that at this point we are guaranteed to get from Marlo, and that is a photo shoot for some holiday, her and her nephews discussing the whole therapy thing, or something about Scotty. So at this point, I'll take that over the other drama that was going on. One of the things that they talked about when they were talking about Scotty is one of her nephews said, we should ask for Chef Scotty to come over. And I'm glad that Marlo said no. Marlo mentioned that that wouldn't be a thing that would happen for at least a year of her dating. And as someone who has a son who is a teenager, I agree with that. I don't feel like you should introduce your children, the children that you're caring for, to significant others unless you know that is definitely something serious. We then see, I always say her name wrong. Sanya, is her name Sanya? Sonya. Sonya and her sister, they are wrapping gifts and they're talking about their issues again. Sonya starts crying about how her sister really hurt her feelings by not being there for her mommy event that she had, that she's missing out on some things, and she really hated the fact that she missed out on the brunch. And I have a problem with this because we already know that one of the reasons why she missed out on the brunch was because she didn't have time to get herself ready, because she was making sure that her sister was good. And I feel like this just shows how selfish that Sonya can be sometimes, because everything seems to be centered around her. And her sister made it clear, like, for the past 10 years, I haven't really had a life kind of outside of you. I've been doing everything for you, working with you, and now I have a husband and I have children and all these other things, and I need you to understand that I'm changed. And I just have to say, like, your sister needs a life outside of you. It's not fair that you expect her to always be there for you. At some point, she has to be able to stand on her own. Anyways, they hug it out, and it seems like we're not going to hear about this again. Oh, we see Kandi arrive at Blaze because she's meeting up with Cynthia, and I noticed how empty the restaurant was. I mean, was the restaurant closed? I saw that the weather was a little bit snowy or rainy out, so maybe that's the reason why a lot of people weren't there, but the restaurant seemed pretty empty. I don't know what that's about. Cynthia and Kandi talk, and one of the things that's mentioned by Cynthia is that, you know, she's kind of starting over at 55, being divorced for a second time, and it's kind of hard. But what's going on with Kandi? Kandi lets her know, what am I saying? Oh, I'm not going to edit that out. We find out that Kandi called Cynthia while in Portugal to talk about the argument that she had with Drew. You guys, I don't understand why Kandi felt that this whole situation with Drew was so important that she had to call so many people in that moment. I understand that Kandi is frustrated because Drew is lying on her, but Kandi, you're giving it more traction than it needs because of how you're responding to it. If Drew wants to lie, just let Drew lie. Because at this point, we're well aware that Drew's a liar. So just let her lie. We see Kenya watching her baby cousin and Brooklyn, and the scene was really, really cute because they're talking about how, you know, Brooklyn at first responded to the baby. She really wasn't really feeling the baby, and now she's liking the baby. And I noticed that they're laying on the carpet, and while they're laying on the carpet in this cute moment, I can't help but see that Kenya put a blanket under that baby on that carpet. The baby's face was all over the carpet. Now, some of y'all are probably like, what is she talking about? But it bothered me. Just something that I noticed. We hear Kenya talk about how she wants to give Brooklyn a baby, brother or sister. We see them in a confession, and she's asked by the producers what she wants. And she said that she wants a brother and a sister, that she doesn't mind helping her mom change diapers. She just needs to make sure she has a mask, which I think is so cute. We then see Drew in her closet with her assistant and stylist. Now, Drew, do you really need an assistant and a stylist? What is it that you're doing that requires all this? Is it because you're on the show? Is it because you're trying to pick up your acting thing? Like, I don't quite understand what Drew does that she requires to have an assistant and a stylist. The producers asked Drew about Ralph, and she reminds us that marriage is hard. She said that she asked Ralph about Vegas, and he said that all he was doing was working, but she doesn't really trust him. While in the closet, Drew mentions to Ralph, because Ralph comes in the closet, that Kandi brought up the fact that she kissed Toya. And I think it's really ironic that this scene is being filmed in the closet, because you're in the closet, and I feel like this is you trying to act like you're not coming out of the closet. I don't know. It was just something I was like, this is so ironic that they're having this scene about this kiss that she doesn't want anybody to know about while being in the closet. So Drew mentioned to Ralph that she texted Toya and saying, like, did we ever kiss? The whole thing that we saw her do last episode, and Toya said no. I just don't understand this whole situation with Toya, because in the reunion, Toya said she did kiss her. On Speak On It, Toya said that she did kiss her. And then there was some other clip that Bravo showed at the end with her saying that she didn't kiss her. So I don't quite understand what really happened, but I need Kandi just to stay in it and not stay in it. Continue to tell your truth and just leave it at that. Like, I don't, the back and forth and the whether or not they said it, or I don't even care, because people say that they saw it. Toya at one point said that she did it. So why now are we coming back and saying we didn't do it? Ralph says that he doesn't see why it's a big deal. Drew brings up that it has to do with the movie. And I can't help but notice while Drew is telling the story that she's smiling. And I'm saying to myself, okay, Drew, are you smiling because you're nervous? Or are you smiling because you're lying? Because Ralph is right. Why is it being made to be such a big deal? Why did you even feel the need to tell him? If it's not true, then like, let it go. But it's true. And I think Ralph knows it's true. I'm sure they've had talks about this before. Some people are saying that they feel like Kandi's wrong for bringing it up because they know that she's going through a divorce. But all bets are off when you call me a liar, and I know I'm not lying. She then tells Ralph how Marlo's the ops and that she was recording her and she sent it to Toya, and how it's not right, even though we know that Drew has done the same thing. She's recorded, I believe it was Toya talking, and replayed it. So you're a hypocrite. Ralph then asks about how his cousin Courtney was on the trip, and Drew basically says that we shouldn't call her your cousin. We're just going to call her Courtney because she didn't have your back while Marlo was saying stuff behind your back. And Drew, I hate that you're making me agree with Marlo, because Marlo didn't say anything that was that deep for you to even tell Ralph. So why did Courtney need to have his back? There was no back to be had. We see Marlo then sitting down with her manager talking about events and Scott Lee. And she brings up the fact that she does like Scott Lee, but she feels like he parties too much. And that she needs to see how he is as a father. I don't know how you're going to see how he is as a father if you yourself have said that you don't want him to be around your nephews for at least a year. Are you expecting to be around his children before that? So I don't think you can really gauge that as of yet, but this is Marlo's storyline, so we're going to go with it. We see Kandi and Sheree link up, and Kandi talks about how they're in a better place and all these other things, and I just keep saying to the screen, Sheree is not your friend, Kandi. I just don't get it. We find out that before Sheree messed up her face, that she went to Kenya and Kandi's doctor for a breast augmentation. They talk about that. She says she likes this next go round, whatever. And I'm guessing that she liked it so much that she decided to do more work, because the Sheree that we're seeing in this episode is not the Sheree that we've been seeing in the confessionals. I don't know. To each his own. Do what you want to do. I myself have no room to talk about people's bodies, but I feel like leave your face alone. It just, certain things, unless it's a thing where you can't breathe, don't touch your nasal passages. You don't look the same. Your nose is what balances your face. I don't know if people realize that, but when you alter your nose, it's like Kandi's daughter. Kandi's daughter got a nose job and she looks like a completely different person. And to me, there was nothing wrong with her nose. She had her mom's nose. It fit her face. Now she got that Barbie looking. Okay, let me stay on. Leave your face alone. If you want to get Botox, go ahead and get Botox. You see my little wrinkly lines, but don't do anything major. It's too much. Sheree brings up the argument with Drew, saying that Drew basically said that Kandi is a liar and that she felt like this was just Kandi trying to produce. And at this point, she doesn't care if she's in the movie or not. Kandi is bothered by that. Kandi also said, like, look, she doesn't need to be in the movie, but it's not my movie. It's Todd's. So I would rather her not be in it, but basically that's not for her to decide. We find out that Kandi invited everyone to her upcoming event, including Toya. We then see Sanya talking to her sister and Ross, and her sister talks about how she's starting to get excited because she's going to begin the process for looking for an apartment. And one of the things that her sister said that I thought was very telling was that she's nervous because she's never applied to an apartment. I don't know how old her sister is. I don't know what the age difference is between them, but that is so telling to me that at her big age, with her husband and children, she's never applied for an apartment. She said that her sister in the past did it for her. So she's never had anything on her own. It is time for you all to separate, and it's time for you to grow up. I had my first apartment when I was 19. Now, granted, I had a roommate, but we wanted to be grown, and we didn't want to live on campus after freshman year. And we got an apartment, and we got jobs, and we were able to work full-time and go to school full-time because we wanted an apartment. Grow up. You should be able, at your age, to get a place and be on your own. You're married. What are we doing? We see that Kandi's Peach Fuzz event is being held at the Selfie Museum. One thing about Kandi, when Kandi throws an event, you're going to see a lot of people there. And I don't understand why Bravo didn't show us all the people, because I saw way more famous people at the event, celebrities, influencers, all of that, than what was shown on the TV screen. But I guess they just don't feel like having people sign agreements. I don't know. Sheree is talking to some of the ladies about how it's going to be interesting to see the interaction between Kandi and Drew, knowing that Drew is calling Kandi a liar. We see Marlo say, like, you can say many things, but one thing Kandi don't like is being called a liar. And when Marlo was talking in this scene, I actually liked Marlo this episode. This episode, Marlo didn't bother me because Marlo was saying some of the things that I would have said had I have been in that situation. Kandi arrives. We see some of the event space. It looks really good. We see the new product, and Kandi is showing them all the things that this vibrating peach can do. And Sonya, it was cute and funny because while in her green screen, she was like, let me take notes. Producers asked Marlo if her and Scottley have done anything, and she said no. They asked her if they've done like any other things, even though they haven't had relations yet, and she was like, no, that's Kandi's lane. A little shady, but whatever. We see some demonstrations being done, and Sonya tries to get Royce to do one of them, and he's not having any parts of it. Cynthia arrives, and she says she's a big user of bedroom candy, and she wants to know where her goodie bag is, especially since she's been divorced. I enjoyed seeing Cynthia. Cynthia may not have brought a lot to the series in the past, but Cynthia to me was enjoyable because Cynthia kind of was like a bridge. Cynthia to me is a better version of what Sanya tries to do. We find out from Cynthia that at one point her and Kenya were not on good terms after they filmed for another, I think something deal with Bravo. They filmed for it. I don't remember what it's called, but they had a falling out after that. And we found out that they reconnected basically because they went to Teresa's wedding. And while there, Kenya had asked Cynthia how her mother was doing because she found out at the time that her mom was battling breast cancer, and she wanted to see how she was. And Cynthia said in being around her, she realized how much she missed her, and they've since rekindled. Kenya, in her confession, says that, you know, knowing all that stuff that is going on and all the things that she's been through, because she didn't even know at the time that she was having difficulties with her ex-husband, that she's never gonna not be a part of her life again. And I feel like that's commendable to me. Real friends have issues, but they know how to come together, and they know how to not let it kill things. Like, it shouldn't be a thing where we argue and we never talk to each other again. And it shouldn't be a thing where the arguments become disrespectful, because if you truly love and care about people, at some point, whether you disagree or agree, you're going to come to the middle. We talking about this whole kiss thing again. When they're all together, Sheree says at this point, no one cares about the kiss, but they do care about their character. And I agree. Drew finally arrives, and Cynthia and some of the other ladies know, we were just talking about you. Drew makes some type of comment basically about how these type of things always happen at Kandi's horny nights, and now here we are again having the same situation. Something about the way Drew deals with this situation is very passive aggressive to me, and the fact that you're standing so firm in calling Kandi a liar, and then you're joking around and smiling and saying the things that you're saying, just lets me know that you're full of crap. Because if somebody's lying on me like that, and it goes both ways, because to me, Kandi, I wouldn't deal with Drew either. The same way you said that you can be cordial with Marlo and when you complimented her on her purse and all that other stuff. Same way how you said you could be cordial with Marlo and not be friends. I feel like that's how you need to kick it with Drew. Like, she's not your friend. We find out that Scottley, because she was talking to Ralph, Marlo was talking to Ralph, and we find out that Scottley was on his way, but he witnessed an accident, and the lady was stuck in the accident, and he cut up his hands really bad by helping the lady get out the car, and we get a shot of his hands, and it looks like a cat did it. But Marlo, go ahead and go up for your man. Scottley, great guy, for rescuing that person, but we're not gonna sit here and act like he had scratches that require stitches. I got a scratch on my arm right now. Going, I don't even look at me trying to show you my battle wound. Y'all see it? My boyfriend's dog did that to me. And it was an accident. He's a boxer. And you will find out. But anyways, let me stick on point. We're playing around and he boxed me and scratched me. And I didn't even realize it. It was a little tingly, but I didn't realize it till my son pointed it out. But the point is, this scratch on my arm, you guys, in case you didn't see the episode, looks worse than what was done on him. I'm just keeping it honest. Like, they Bravo really showed us the pictures. Now they played that music that they played, that's like the music where they're trying to poke fun. They played that music in the background, so we know it really wasn't that deep. But I thought that was interesting. Marlo makes a cheers to Ralph and says, cheers to whenever we address someone, we know facts. Basically saying, like, you hit me up saying that I was wrong for saying what I said, but your wife didn't tell you the full story or tell you the truth. We find out that Drew, because Ralph said, you know, I heard that y'all were talking about me a lot and you had a lot to say, and it was a ongoing thing for multiple days, when that wasn't the case. So, Drew, you acted like Marlo said more than she did. And I like how Marlo responded, because Marlo was like, look, I don't have any problems with you. I didn't say anything except that I do the same that you do, the same thing that you do. I'm in technology. I understand that you wake up to many faces because you don't know what personality you're going to wake up with in the morning when it comes to your wife. And I chuckled because it's true. Drew, to me, is very fake and phony, and she does put on an act. Even the way she was searching for him in the house and like, what are you doing? Oh, you're working? Like, everything is always extra. Like, your husband's in the house. If he's not downstairs, if he's not up there in the room with you to look at this closet that you're supposed to be working on, what is he supposed to be doing? Y'all, this net is driving me nuts. Sorry. Back to my bed. Anyway, we see Toya arrives, and I think she's getting ready to lie is what I put in here. She hugs Kandi and says she's upset with Kandi. And Kandi says why? And she says she wasn't there to defend herself. Toya, you mad at Kandi because you weren't there to defend yourself? It wasn't that deep for you to defend yourself. Either you kissed her or you didn't. Kandi, please stop dealing with them. Like, for real, please stop. They are about to continue to play you. They're talking about the situation, and it's the three of them. And LaToya brings up Marlo, and Kandi says, let's get Marlo. She sends for somebody to get Marlo. She talks about how she's mad about Marlo for sending the videos. And she tells Marlo that. And I don't understand why you're mad at Marlo for sending the videos, because although Marlo was being messy, Marlo said it even in front of Drew. Like, I'm saying this to show you how she talks about you in this situation. Y'all are trying to act like you're really good friends, but the girl's talking about you. I cannot get this. The girl's continuing to talk about you. So this is how she really feels about you. Drew then says that the videos were edited. Drew. Marlo had time to take this recording that you all had after the camera crew shut down, which at this point we know it was after 10:30, the camera crew shut down. Y'all did whatever y'all did, got into this whole discussion. At around 12, is when the message was sent, or no, around 12 is when you sent Toya a message asking her if this is true, whatever, and she replied no, even though she was lying. Marlo sent videos at 1 something. So Marlo had time to edit a string of videos on her iPhone in less than an hour to send to Toya about you. Marlo said, I don't need edit. Drew, you really believe the things that you're saying? Drew said she had to edit it because they were short clips. They could have been short clips because it was easier to send a shorter clip. They could have been short clips because she was recording it on Snapchat or some other thing. Like, there's multiple reasons why they could have been short clips. And we're not going to sit here and act like LaToya sent you every single clip that she got from Marlo. But you want to say that she edited to make it seem like you said something that you didn't say. Girl, Marlo said Drew's a liar. She walks off and says end scene. Kandi says, kiss whatever, wherever, however you want to. Just don't call me a liar and say that I'm trying to produce things. At no point does LaToya in that scene say that Kandi is lying. Instead, what LaToya chooses to say is, do you feel that Kandi is a genuine person? And Drew says yes. So LaToya says, when she said that we kiss, knowing that you feel she's a genuine person, why don't you believe that? And Drew's response is, I believe that Kandi was seeing things and she was fantasizing about seeing us kiss. Drew is very insulting to Kandi because I feel like you're using the fact that you know that Kandi is bisexual. You're using that against Kandi. I got one of them, y'all. Anyways, you're using that against Kandi. And that's not right. She's bisexual. She's bisexual. Don't try to use that as a reason to why she would lie and make up this whole thing. She don't need to see you all kiss in order to have a fantasy. Like, come on, Drew. You doing too much. We see Marlo go back downstairs and they ask, well, did she admit it? And she's like, no, they're not addressing what the issue is at hand. And it's hard to get to the truth. We see Kandi come back downstairs and she says, at this point, we're just going to agree to disagree. Because Kandi realizes that Drew going to continue to lie and Toya going to be on whatever Toya's on at this point. We see some flashbacks where Candy's basically saying, like, if she was wrong, she's wrong. But Kandi, you not wrong. Because other ladies said they saw it too. And Toya has said on 2 other occasions that she did kiss. So we don't know if she did or she didn't. And I'll be honest with you, we don't care. I don't care. I don't care what anybody does. Your preference is your preference. But don't lie on me. And Kandi, what I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to stop allowing these people to play in your face and act like they're your friends when all they do is use you. They're trash people. And I want you to protect yourself more and not put your energy into people who are liars, because that's what they are. Cynthia coming into the scene was nice. It was refreshing. It seemed like a natural interaction. LaToya coming into the scene, LaToya didn't really add any value because LaToya still didn't say whether or not it was true in that scene. Instead, what she did was she said, why would you think that Candy's lying? Which then brings forth the fact like, okay, there's truth to it. But you've gone back and forth so much, we don't know what to believe. So I want to know what Drew did to get you to like switch gears. It's very apparent that we're about to see the breakdown of Drew's relationship with Ralph. But even in that, I wonder how much truth that we're going to get. To the point where I kind of want Ralph, even though I don't like Ralph, to air Drew out. And you can let me know whether, and let me be clear by say air. I don't mean tell all of her personal private business. That's not what I mean. What I mean is tell the truth about what the issues are. So if you feel like she cheated on you with a woman, then say you feel like she cheated on you with the woman. If you feel like you all have bad communication issues and you can't trust her just like she can't trust you, then say that. But don't make the rest of this season about this divorce and we don't get any true information about it. Y'all let me know your thoughts down below. How do you feel about this episode? Do you guys feel like it was good? Do you feel like it even made sense to have Toya come there? Just tell me your thoughts down below. Like and subscribe. And until next time.